Hey guys, I'm just sitting out here in the field waiting to unload the next load of canola. So I said I would talk to you guys a bit about the Minnesota starvation experiment. It was conducted during World War II to investigate the physical, psychological, and mental effects of semi-starvation. And then they wanted to develop an effective rehabilitation strategy for people who were affected by famine during and after World War II. So this is kind of what they did. They took 36 participants. They were all males. They were conscientious objectors to military service. So they were between 22 and 33 years old, and they had to be mentally and physically fit. So they started off with giving them 3,500 calories per day and just kind of got a baseline of their health and their psychological well-being. Then they started a 24-week semi-starvation period, and the caloric intake was drastically reduced to 1,500 calories per day. And they were given foods that were available during war-torn Europe, like potatoes, turnips, bread, got mosquitoes in here, and macaroni. The rehab period afterwards, the men were divided back up into groups and given varying levels of caloric intake to determine the best way to rehabilitate those who were suffering from starvation. And some groups, they got nutritional supplements, and others were given more calories. And the objective was to understand how it starvation impacted behavior. So they were looking at psychological effects such as weight loss, strength, and energy. And they were looking at psychological effects including mood changes, depression, and obsession with food. And so what they found is that the participants lost about 25% of their body weight, but many suffered from severe emotional distress, depression, and food obsession. Some had such extreme behaviors that they started hoarding food, binge eating, and even self-harming themselves. So it really showed what the psychological and physical effects of starvation, what they were and how they persisted even after normal eating resumed. So I want to put this against what some of us women do to our bodies. So Dr. Pelz talks about how even moderate calorie restriction or nutrient deficiencies can trigger so many physical and mental changes, and it emphasizes the importance of adequate nourishment, especially for women. And the long-lasting impact of semi-starvation can be linked to modern-day eating disorders. In essence, she draws parallels between the experiments and current practices of many women who do calorie restrictive diets. Have you been there? I've been there many, many times. Calorie restrict until I binge. And then it's just this up and down and up and down. And it's something that we need to watch out for. We should not do this hard calorie restriction. That's why I follow intermittent fasting, and that's why I make sure I get all the healthy fats, all the protein, and plenty of carbs within my intermittent fasting period. I don't count calories. I don't tell myself that I can't have certain foods. I am cognizant about what I do eat, and I try to make it whole, healthy foods. My biggest thing is just to really stay away from ultra processed foods and just minimize them as much as I can. So I want you guys to think about, is this you? Have you restricted yourself and then went back and forth and your weight went up and down and up and down? It's really a problem. And I have really completely gotten over this. I have taken some supplements that have been amazing for my health and my gut and my well-being, and done intermittent fasting, and it has been amazing for my health. I've lost some weight, yes, but more importantly, my gut health is good. I've lost headaches. I have no more issues with IBS and even more. So sorry about that, getting called on the radio. But I want you to tell me if you've had this struggle with lowering your calories so much that it just messes with your metabolism, so that afterwards, even just eating a moderate diet just makes you immediately gain weight. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear how you're managing all of this, and I am anxious to hear all your stories.